Welcome, and thank you for joining us on a journey inside the human mind. Today, we'll explore a fascinating model developed by Sigmund Freud, a model that splits our psyche into three distinct parts: the ID, the ego, and the superego. Imagine your mind as a stage where different characters play unique roles, constantly interacting to shape the way you think, feel, and act. Let's begin by meeting these inner characters. First, meet the ID. Think of the ID as the part of your mind that's like a small, excited child. It's driven by primal urges and immediate desires. The ID doesn't worry about what's right or wrong. It just wants to feel good right now. Imagine you're a little kid in a candy store. The moment you see that brightly colored lollipop, your heart races, and you want it immediately. That spontaneous urge is the ID at work. It's all about gratification. Whether it's the thrill of a new toy, a sudden craving for your favorite snack, or the irresistible urge to check your phone as soon as it buzzes. The idea is raw and unfiltered, existing before we even learn about rules or social expectations. It's a spark that fuels our energy, creativity, and sometimes even our mistakes. However, if left to run wild, it might lead us to act on every impulse without considering the consequences. Now, let's introduce the ego. Imagine a busy city intersection where every car represents an impulse, and the ego is a careful traffic controller, making sure that everything moves smoothly. The ego listens to the wild demands of the ID, but also understands the rules of the world. What's practical, what's safe, and what's acceptable. Picture a typical morning. Your alarm rings and your ID screams, just 5 more minutes of sleep. But then your superego and ego remind you that being late might cause problems. The ego steps in with a balanced suggestion. How about setting your alarm a bit earlier tomorrow so you get both rest and punctuality? It's that sensible part of you that negotiates between your desires and the reality of the situation. The ego's job is to find a compromise. It doesn't completely suppress the ID. Instead, it works to satisfy its desires in a realistic way. Whether it's choosing a smaller treat when you're hungry or deciding to wait for a sale rather than making an impulsive purchase, the ego ensures that your actions make sense in the real world. Every decision you make, big or small, is a result of the ego mediating between immediate gratification and long-term benefits. This balancing act is what keeps your life organized and your decisions thoughtful. Next, we meet the superego, your inner judge and moral compass. Think of the superego as a caring mentor who teaches you right from wrong. It develops as you grow up, absorbing lessons from parents, teachers, and society, and it's always there to remind you of your values. For example, imagine accidentally breaking a friend's favorite mug. While the ID might simply shrug it off as a minor mishap, the superego quickly reminds you, that was wrong, you should say sorry and fix it. It's that internal voice that feels when you've done something you shouldn't have, and that guides you back onto the right path. The superego isn't just about punishment. It's about nurturing the values that make you who you are. It pushes you to act with kindness, honesty, and responsibility. Sometimes, the superego's expectations might feel strict or overwhelming, but they are rooted in the desire to help you grow into a considerate and ethical individual. Whether it's choosing to help a friend in need or resisting the temptation to take shortcuts, the superego plays a crucial role in ensuring that our actions align with our deepest values and the standards of our community. Now that we've met our three inner characters, let's see how they interact in everyday life. Think of your mind as a stage where the ID, ego, and superego are constantly negotiating with one another. They might seem like they're in conflict, but in reality, they work together to help you make balanced decisions. This inner dialogue is present in every decision, whether you're choosing a meal, planning your day, or facing a challenging dilemma. The ID fuels your energy and passion. The superego ensures you stick to your values, and the ego finds that middle ground where you can enjoy life without compromising your principles. Remember, this is not a battle but a dance, a continuous interplay that shapes who you are. When these three forces work in harmony, they create a balanced and healthy mind, capable of both joyful spontaneity and thoughtful planning. Imagine waking up on a hectic morning. Your cozy bed and the comfort sleep are calling to you. Your ID's voice is saying, just 5 more minutes, please. But your superego reminds you of your responsibilities. and your ego quickly finds a practical solution, adjusting your routine so that you wake up on time while still getting enough rest. This everyday negotiation is the perfect example of your inner team working together. Now, picture yourself scrolling through social media. The endless feed is designed to trigger your ID's desire for immediate pleasure and entertainment. But then your superego nudges you with thoughts of productivity and mindfulness. Your ego steps in to set a healthy time limit, allowing you to enjoy what you love without getting lost in the digital world. This balance helps you remain present and in control. Consider a stressful day at work with looming deadlines. Your ID might scream for an immediate break or distraction, while your superego reminds you of your commitments to your colleagues and projects. The ego crafts a plan, short, restorative breaks paired with focused work intervals. This compromise not only keeps you on track, but also protects your well-being. As we come to the end of our journey, it's important to reflect on what we've learned. Freud's model might seem abstract at first, but by breaking it down into the ID, ego, and superego, we see a clear picture of how our inner world operates. Every decision, every impulse, and every moral judgment is a result of this ongoing internal conversation. By recognizing the roles these parts play in your daily life, you can gain a greater understanding of your behaviors and feelings. It's a reminder that it's okay to have impulses. What matters is how you balance them with reason and values. Embrace your spontaneity, honor your ethics, and trust in your ability to find balance. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the mind. I hope you now have a clearer picture of how the ID, ego, and superego interact to shape your everyday experiences. Whether you're making a simple choice or facing a major life decision, remember that there's a complex, beautiful dance happening inside you. Keep this insight with you as you go about your day. Acknowledge your impulses, weigh them with thoughtful reasoning, and let your inner values guide you. This balanced approach can help you live more mindfully and with greater self-understanding. Until next time, stay curious, stay balanced, and keep exploring the incredible landscape of your mind. Goodbye.